sad face. This is a Moore pen, a really nice little Moore pen from the 30s, maybe the 40s, made here in Boston, Massachusetts. And the Moore Pen Company, anyone will tell you, if you give them half a chance, they're going to tell you that they were a good company, but they had a flaw. And the flaw is in their nibs. Saving a couple of extra pennies, they made their nibs particularly thinner than they needed to be, than they should be. And consequently, I don't know the exact percentages, but I'll guess 19%. I'll be 19% of any more you might find, not so much in a collection, because I think by the time they get to a collection, people might have replaced the nibs. But if you were at a flea market and just happens to be full of unrestored virgin, as it were, Moore fountain pens, a good 19% of them probably will have a crack. And the cracks happen in the back of the pen, where the pen fits into the section. They have a little crack. And that won't generally affect how the pen writes, but it'll never get better. Cracks never go away, and you could have them welded or soldered or however, a jeweler could fix them, but that's an added expense that you may not want to deal with. So, you can try to cram them in further, and the crack might just get worse, and again, they're not going to get any better. So this pen had one of those cracks. Actually, it had a crack, a different kind of a crack. Its crack, here's where the section would be. Its crack went this way. And in fact, this entire part broke off. And rather than throwing it away or scrapping it, what I do is I like pens to die with their boots on. And this pen will die with its boots on, unless there's another crack, in which case it'll die faster with its boots on. Yep. I hate when that happens. Moore, you should have gotten your act together. This pen also has, in addition to the back part that's missing, it has a little crack there and a little crack there. Here a crack, there a crack, everywhere a crack. And it does have a limited lifespan. If I remember to use this pen, and I probably will, it'll be in my hands and I'll drive it into the dust. This pen can make beautiful broad lines, but I have to remember to not press down much harder than I'm doing right now. Even though I could, the reason I could is it's going to make these cracks bigger. And I don't want to do that. So I just have to remember when I use this pen that I have to be a little bit extra careful with it. And maybe I'll use it when I'm doing lettering like this, for Roman lettering for maps or something, where Elor, what does that even say? Florence, F-L-O-R. Anyway, I just have to make sure to remember when I use this pen that it is fragile. And Moore pens, M-O-O-R-E, more nibs tend to be, 19% of them, studies have shown that they are going to be probably cracked and perhaps will be usable, but so use them, make them die with their boots on, and when they in fact break, take the gold and have it, melted down and turned into something else. But it's too bad. I thought it was just this part that was missing, but it has other issues. In my collection of pens, I have lots of broken nibs. Sometimes these were broken by my own hand. Sometimes these were broken by other people. Like, this pen isn't going to work very well for anyone, right? Now, how did that happen? I would like to know. This part, could I cram this into something and have it be used? Probably not very well. This one, you can see, is broken. All very sad. Some of these are just bent. This one I might be able to fix. Though this nib is really firm and sort of, it might not be worth it to fix it just because it's too uninteresting a nib to go through the trouble. This one is missing iridium. Now sometimes if a pen is missing iridium, I'm able to take the other iridium ball off and carefully file down the end of it and make it smooth, and it'll write, but you're writing on the gold, and the gold will eventually wear down. This one, in fact, looks like one of those pens. So there's no iridium there. Come on, get in focus. There's no iridium, and it can write. It's very smooth, but you're writing on the gold, and the gold will eventually wear down and become sharper and sharper. Look, here's another one of those Schaeffers. This is a problem that these Schaeffer pens had. These two, like the Moore pens, were very thin in the back, later Schaeffer pens, and often they crack right at the part where the section is, and it's really too bad that happens. That's a disaster. So again, when you do have a pen that is cracked or broken, you can get it fixed, but that's added expense, and you may not want to pay that. This nib is a nib that would be worth repairing. It's a two-toned Conklin nib, and it goes in a relatively large-sized Conklin pen. And because of the two-tone wash they used on this, it's a rare pen. So this one will make a pen collector happy. They can have it retipped, and it'll be lovely. This pen nib, what's wrong with this one? This has this stupid thing. This is a little tiny springed thing that when you screw the cap on, or when you put the cap on and screw it down, this blocks the feeder, the feed channel, to keep it from leaking. Like, okay, let's just make it even more complicated and stupid. Here's another Moore pen that's broken. This is missing its iridium. Back in the olden days, you could have your pens retipped by the factory, but even the Waterman Company said if it's a number 2 nib, don't bother, because it's too much work. Just buy a new nib. For larger size nibs, they offered to repair it. What's wrong with it? Missing iridium. This one is missing both iridia. Both iridium things are missing. It's a number 8 warranted nib, somewhat flexible. This one I could very carefully file down, and it could turn into a rather nice stub nib. I've done that with one of these pens here, this one. This is not a very nice version of it though, but this was a large sized pen that was missing iridium, and I was able to I filed it down. Come on, why don't you get in focus? Anyway, I'll just show you. And I now have a nice big broad nib on it. But it's writing, I'm writing on the gold, and the gold is going to eventually wear down, and it'll get, well, it'll just wear down. It might become a little bit sharp on the side stroke, which might not bother you. But, you know, this is going to die with its boots on, slowly, a tortuously slow death. Pens that have cracks in them will die a quicker death if you're not very, very careful. So, put that in your pipe and smoke it. This is a beautiful nib. This is a Victorian era dip pen nib. Now, why is this one in here? Looks like it has its iridium. It does. It does have its iridium. So this should be able to work, but sometimes when I think this was recently repaired for me by someone, and it doesn't have the, it really doesn't have the snappiness that I really like about those dip pen nibs. Oh well. Anyway, I was going to show you I was going to turn that frowny face into a smiling one by saying I was able to make this pen work by just setting it down a little further in the feed, but because it also has these two other cracks, the smiley face it's that kind of a face. It's like, okay, I know I've got a terminal disease, but I'll make the best of it. I'll take that, I'll do my bucket list. I'll write all those words that I meant to write, I can write now. You know, I can actually, damn it, things I wanted to say, things I wanted to write, I'll write now because I'm on my last legs, my little bucket list. That's not how you make a B. There we go, bucket. Not bucket, bouquet. My bouquet list. Well, it's a cute little more anyway. I'll probably at some point. It's really a nice little stubby pen. It sort of makes me happy using it because it sort of fits so nicely in my hand. And I like putting stub nibs in stubby pens because they seem to ask for it. And this is kind of a stubby nib. So again, I'll do a couple of drawings with this, or do a couple of calligraphic jobs with this. I'll leave this on my desk right there. And when I'm done with them, I'll say, you know, you served your purpose, you pen you, and I'll be happy. And that pen will be happy. That pen will smile. Where is it? Smile. Because it was used successfully for a couple of times anyway. And come on, go back there. So, where is it again? Anyway, for you, I'm talking to you now. Your job is really to look at a Moore pen if you were to find one at a flea market or at a pen show, and just double check the nib to make sure that it's not cracked. And if it does have a crack, and you see the crack at the back there, it probably will still work perfectly fine. But if you try to rock the nib out to clean the channel, you're just going to break it. So and that's, I think, what happened with me. I did that, not you. Not you. I managed to do that just yesterday, as a matter of fact. I ended up breaking it myself. I did it myself. See, this nib isn't even gonna, this nib that I have here won't even fit in a Schaefer, a senior size Schaefer. This has to fit in a giant pen, and where am I going to find one of those? Okay, back to this one. End on a happy note. No, that's not happy. There we go. Again, this nib, because it's a stub, slightly stub nib, if I don't hit the paper here, I'm not hitting the paper right. You sort of have to hit the paper at the right angle so that both tines are touching. Anyway, smiley face for this one, because this will work. This will do a job, a couple more jobs before it dies. It's a cute pen, really cute. I heart this pen. I heart this pen. Even with its flaw. Do you heart this pen? I bet you do. Thanks for watching.